let's get started with Rikka today, and I could show you the deck list and some combos that I know. I don't know all the combos for this deck, but I can show you what I know. Um, so Rikkas. So what's the point of Rikkas, right? So Rikkas are a really like interesting archetype because basically what you can do is tribute off the opponent's monsters using the field spell, Rikka Con. Once per turn, see at the bottom, once per turn, if you attribute a plant monster you control to activate a Rikka card or effect, you could tribute any one face-up monster your opponent controls, even though you don't control it. So that's like the strength of this deck. You could just like, without them even being able to do anything about it, get rid of their monsters. It is a spell effect, so if they have a spell negate, they could kind of, stop this. But otherwise, if they're not packing a lot of spell negates, you could just start removing their monsters, and they can't really do much about it. So you just dismantle their field that way. The turn one board, I've seen so many combo videos for this. As I said, I'm not an expert at this stuff. I stop in gold 1. I guess I could make it a plat, but it's a grind. But basically, the turn 1 end board is this link for Bengal Lancer, which has an effect is quick effect. You could target one effect monster your opponent controls, take damage equal to its attack, and if you did, return it to the hand. So basically, that's a good way to interrupt your opponent. Say they have some kind of boss monster or like a critical, combo piece. You could just interrupt them, remove it from the field, and then they're kind of screwed. So that's one of the boss monsters. Another one is, I know it's a Link 1, but Sunvine Thrasher. Basically, it's the third line. If this card is special summoned, you could target one Sunavalon Link monster on the field, which is typically Melius, because that's like the Link 3 that you'll have on board. I'll show you the combo. So this is like the OTK line. This card gains attack equal to that monster's Link rating, which is 3 times 800, which will be 2400. Or if you have the Link 4, it'll be 3200. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the grave, you can special summon that monster to your zone Link monster points to, but negate its effects. But actually, there's another effect where you could attack twice. Here we go. Once per turn, you could target one Sunvine Link monster you control that this card points to. This turn, it can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of Sunavalon Link monsters you currently control. So if you have 2 Sunavalon Link monsters, you could attack twice. If you have 3, you could attack 3 times. So it's a nice way to OTK this card, even though it's like a Link 1. These cards are just to set up the combo. Sacred Tree is a good turn 1 card, because basically it says during your turn when you activate a card or effect, you could target one card of the same type, monster, spell, or trap in your grave, attach it to this card as material. And then during your opponent's turn, when a card or effect is activated, quick effect, you could detach one material of the same type, monster, spell, or trap, and if you do, negate it. And if you do that, destroy it. So this is like a Omni negate, but you really got to choose one. So it's more like a guessing game because you don't know who you're playing. So you can negate one monster effect, a spell effect, or a trap effect. You kind of just have to choose, pick and choose. Uh, you know, if you want spell protection for your board, this is probably the best way to do it. So that's cool. And the way you get this, because you know we don't run level 9 monsters in here. The way you get this is through Strenna, because Strenna's effect is blah blah. If this card with XYZ material is attributed, you can special summon a rank 5 or higher plant XYZ from your extra deck, then attach it as material. So you by default get the monster negate. So if you want a spell negate, you gotta activate a spell, you know, after you summon this card. So that's like the other turn 1 board monster. The other cool one, of course, is Teardrop, which is like via monster effect, you're attributing your opponent's monsters, which I always thought was really cool. Also, this card has a summon animation, which is cool. Then you have this rank 7. Once per turn, you can send a plant from your hand or face up to the grave. Look at a number of cards from the top of the deck, then place them on the top of the deck in any order. Once per turn, so that just means like on your turn, you can detach one XYZ from this card, choose a number from 1 to 3, then excavate. Send any plants to the grave, and if you do, return that many to the field. So this is more like a turn 2 card, because it's not a quick effect. So basically you could, you know, dismantle the opponent's field with this card. So, you know, it's like a turn 2 card. This I just have in here because why not? This is 2 level 6. It says you can attach one material, then target a monster in either grave. Special summon but negate. Also it becomes a plant. And it says if a plant you control will be destroyed by a card effect, you contribute 1 plant from your hand or field instead. So this also gives you destruction protection. So I didn't even realize that. That's cool. And I got 2 of these because I got it from the pack, and I just explained what these did. So synchros, so there's like a very limited number of plant synchros available. I think in general, I don't think it's just like in Master Duel. I think just plant synchros are very limited. This is like a new one. So you know, basically, you just, you know, depending on the cards you get from the packs, you know, when you're building this deck, you could add in a synchro. Probably the best one is Sweet Marjoram, because basically she says your opponent cannot target plant monsters with card effects if your life points are higher. So that's pretty cool. You know, if you end up pulling this card. I'm running this card. It says during your main phase you can special summon a level 5 from your hand or grave. So like if you want to extend your combo, for, you know, depending on what's in your hand. This card is kind of cool because it says each player must pay 1,000 life points for each normal or special summon monster from their hand, except for plants. So it's a cool way to get some burn damage on your opponent. This card is okay. You can negate one face-up opponent's monster, but it's only on your turn, so it's not that great. And then these other rose cards don't really apply, you know, to the Rikka archetype. All right, so let's go through the cards that I have in here. So, you know, I had to watch a ton of videos to understand like the combos here, but the basic idea is you kind of want to get these Sunseed normal monsters on the field, because then with those you could link off into Sunavalon Dryas, and from there you could combo off. Because, you know, if you read this, it says if this card is link summoned using specifically the Genius Loci, you could add a Sunvine spell to your hand. So then if you do that, you get this, which lets you special summon a Sunseed from your deck, which is Sunseed Twin. And then this says, if this is normal special summoned, then you could target a level 4 or lower plant normal in your grave and special summon. So it just kind of like combos off. So you could easily get a Link 2, which is typically your Jasmine. And then this can special summon a plant, so it just keeps going from there. Because this takes one from your deck as well. And then you just keep going. So it's like a, it's like a 1-card starter. So either you normal summon this, or you use Unexpected Die. I guess you could run 3, but I just don't want to brick on it. Not like I'm an expert on this deck, but just my deck building thoughts. I'm running the DD Crows because it's a tier limits meta, and it sucks. Tier limits are terrible. It's so difficult to play against. But this is the game. I run a Spore because it just helps with my my one synchro that I play. You could take it out if you don't care about the synchros. But it has a cool effect. If it's in your grave, you can banish another plant and special summon it, so it's like a free material if it's in your grave. Rikka Petal is a strong card. Besides like the main effect, it says, so if this is in your graveyard during your opponent's end phase while this is in your grave, if you control no monsters or everything is a plant, you can special summon it back for more searches. So it's a really strong card. The opponent will definitely target this if they know what's going on with Rikkas. But this is a great card. Sunseed Twin we just talked about. Lone Fire Blossom is another way you can get to Genius Loci or whatever card you want to get. So this is like another starter. So you could run 2 of these, I guess, if you want. Ash Blossoms, I mainly run these for like the branded fusions and like the other cards that special summon or add cards from the deck to negate that. Primula is pretty cool because if a monster you control is attributed, which tends to happen in the Rikka Sunavalon deck, you can special summon this from your hand, and then you could target 2 plants and increase their levels, which doesn't really come up, but it's almost like a free special summon. Rikka Princess is a free special summon. Like, it literally is a free special summon. During your main phase, you can special summon this from your hand, but you're locked into plants, which doesn't matter for us, right? When your opponent activates a monster effect while you control a Rikka monster, you can shuffle this from your hand or grave into the deck and tribute a plant monster and negate the effect. So it's also a hand trap, but you probably use this as material, but it lets you. So what's cool about this? So if you have this and you have the field spell, that's disgusting, because basically you negate their monster effect and you tribute their card, which is ridiculous. So that's kind of cool interaction. I don't know if you need 3 of these. I'm running 3 because I pulled 3. I think 2 is enough. But this is definitely a starter because you can tribute a plant monster or special summon this from your hand. If this is normal or specialed by the effect of a plant, you can add a Rikka spell from your deck to your hand. So the Rikka spells are either the Con or the Glamour. So the Glamour, you can tribute a plant, add a Rikka from your deck. Then if you tributed a monster, which is like an optional effect, you can add another plant monster with the same level. So that's why if you look at my deck, I'm running like 2 4s, 2 6s, 2 8s, I'm running 3/8 actually. Uh, you know, I wouldn't say this is the ideal way to run Rikkas. This is just the way I do. There's probably more optimal ways to run this deck, but you know, I just like the synergy of it. I'm definitely not a Rikka expert, I'll tell you that. But it's a cool effect. This card says when an attack is declared, you contribute this from your hand or field and gain 1,000 attack. If a monster is tributed while this is in your grave, you can special summon this, but banish. So, you know, decent effects. Not that strong. I run the Kaiju because I don't leave home without it. You know, with all these, you know, full armor masters and, you know, what do you call that? The basically unaffected boss monsters, you know, or just huge boss monsters in general that you just, you know, towers you can't get rid of. Kaijus are always the answer. So I always have a Kaiju in my deck, even if it, you know, even if it's not ideal. I just run it just for that situation. Snowdrop is cool because you contribute a plant, special summon this and another plant from your hand. You're locked into plants, and then you could make another card a level 8, so you can go into Teardrop. Ideally, you know, if you pull it, you know, I don't know if you would have to craft it, but if you pull it, definitely try and get 2 Teardrops because as strong as this card is, like if you don't have spell protection, you know, all they need is like a Raigeki or a Lightning Storm, and this card is gone. So just be careful with that. But the cool thing is, you know, you could definitely revive plants from the grave. It's just this card won't have material anymore. So, you know, if you can, run 2 of these. I didn't have it. I may craft it later depending on, you know, what goes on with this deck, but one is working so far. Hellbore, you definitely don't need. I just include it. Like as I said, I just like the synergy with Mudan. Sorry. Mudan? Glamour. This says, while you control a Rikka, you contribute this. Sorry. When your opponent activates a monster effect, then you could negate that by quick effect, contributing this from your hand or field. Then you contribute a plant. So this says you contribute 1 plant, special summon this from the graveyard, which is cool because it works with Rikka Kankan, which means you contribute an opponent's monster. Then you got there I happen to pull, that's why I'm including it. This is basically like a free special summon as long as you have a plant in the graveyard. So that's always nice. Free level 8. Harpies and Space Typhoon, you know, with all the back row stuff going on, I just need it. Unexpected Die, like I said, you can run 3 if you want. Rikka Glamour, I don't think you need more than 2. But you know, you can test it out yourself, but I don't think you need more than 2. Sewing, I just like the extra copy, but you know, you're only really searching 1, but you know, in case your game ends up being longer than, you know, 2 or 3 turns, you know, this will help. Rikka Kankan, it's better if you draw it, so 3 is nice. We talked about this. Should definitely have a second call by the grave. I'm getting to craft that. See, I got some materials finally again. Have to craft that. I got the 2 imperms. Why not? And Rikka's sheet says target a face-up monster your opponent controls. You can tribute a plant. Players cannot activate the face-up monster's effects on the field this turn. If you tribute a monster, take control of that monster until the end phase. It's kind of confusing, but basically, you can either negate an opponent's monster with this, or you can take control of it. But the take control means you'd have to tribute a monster But the cool thing is, like I keep saying, if you have Rikka Concon on board, you contribute the opponent's monster. So that's always nice. Alright, so let's get into some gameplay, because this was a really long explanation. Okay. Let's get started with the combo. Bring out... So this is the most ideal way to combo with Rikka Sunavalon, because I started with unexpected die. Sorry. You know, assuming no interruptions. I definitely need to practice with this deck, because this deck has so much potential. But I just don't understand all of the interactions. I haven't played with this deck enough. So you bring out the twin. You just start clicking yes to literally everything. That's the best way to describe this part right here. At least the setup. And you know, you don't pick the Thrasher because he's for later or turn 2. The turn 1 guy is healer. Then you bring him back. And then you get some life points. Okay. So what do the life points do? If your life points are higher, this card and any card it points to cannot be destroyed by battle. So it has another effect. Once per turn, if you gain life points, add a plant from your deck to your hand. Which, if you ran 2 healers, I guess it could come up. You get a free, you know, monster to your hand. But we are not running 2 healers, so we're not going to get that secondary effect. I guess you could run that if you wanted to. Okay, from here, Rikka Pedal says during your main phase you could take a Rikka monster and add it to your hand. So let's do that. Let's add. So yeah, let's pretend we don't have Mudan, because Mudan will get us our spell cards. So Tribute Plant. Boom. You want Concom, because Concom can search Glamour or Sheet itself. So since you control a Rikka, you can search Glamour. And Glamour is the best way to go into your, you know, play extensions. You know, assuming you don't have anything in your hand, right? Like, just assuming there's nothing good in your hand. So you activate this, you tribute this, you add Snowdrop, and then you get to add another level 8. Okay, so you activate Snowdrop's effect. Yeah, you would still need a monster to tribute, right? So that would be Mudan. Then you can special summon anything. So for the purpose of the video, I'll just assume I don't have these 3 monsters, right? Okay. So you get Snowdrop. Teardrop, sorry. The nice summon animation. Okay. So now you contribute as a quick effect the opponent's monsters, which is nice. Now, we haven't used our normal summon. So technically with one card you can get Rikka Con, and you can get Jasmine, which doesn't do much on its own, but it gives you destruction protection. Sorry, battle protection. And then this is the tributing opponent's monster, right? And then in addition to that, depending on what you have in your hand, so let's bring this out. Let's go into our link 3. And what this lets you do is special summon something from your graveyard. And then from here, you got another interruption. That's basically what you should end up. So you have a quick effect, return opponent's monster to the deck, and you have the tributing. So let's see what happens. What does he say? Okay. So he didn't do anything too threatening, right? But yeah, this is the Rikka Petal effect, where you could bring back Petal on the opponent's turn, as long as they only have plants, or no monsters, right? Alright, so let's clean up this board really quick. So, Rikka Petal just gives you free searches, right? So let's go Primula. Yeah, let's just clean this up. I mean, you know, beating up on AI, you know, isn't that impressive? But there we go. Let's go into rank 6. Say no. Okay, so this deck has a lot of like tools, but it requires a lot of practice. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I do not understand all the combos for this deck. I do not. So there's Rikka Sunavalon. Definitely has a lot of potential. Like, the combo potential is huge in this deck. Like I said, I do not fully understand it. So if you're interested in a unique kind of archetype, um, such as Rika's, jump right into it. Let me know how I can improve my deck or my comboing. I really enjoy this deck. I'll see you in the next video, guys.